And now, let's take a look at what's new at BoardGameBliss.com with Nick Meanahan.
Hey now, and welcome to our first little episode of What's New at Board Game Bliss. This is where I tell you about just some of the newest and hottest games that are available for purchase over at BoardGameBliss.com. And first off, thank you to everyone who gave such positive feedback regarding the announcement of our partnership. I'm glad that so many people have been checking out BoardGameBliss.com because it is a fantastic website. They have a huge and wide variety of games from around the world. It's not just a tagline. And in fact, I'm really going to say that of the games that I'm going to talk about today, this pretty much sums up the whole philosophy of Board Game Bliss, because there's just some really interesting games here that I don't think you're going to be able to find that easily in the United States or Canada. Maybe you can, but for like really ridiculous prices, and it'd be really, really tough. So I'm really glad to be able to bring these to people's attention. Even though this is not a review segment, I actually have only played one of the games that we're going to talk about, and I really enjoy that game. So I'll always give my honest opinion and interject with my thoughts wherever applicable. But I haven't played most of these, so do keep that in mind. But if you look at them, if you hear my description and think that it's something that appeals to you, hopefully you'll go to BoardGameBliss.com and check them out. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the only game that I have played out of all these, and that is League of Hackers from Moa Ideas Game Design. And you can actually see my review of that right now. Well, watch the rest of this first, then go and look at it, because I really enjoyed the game. It's also from the designer of Dungeon Guild, a fantastic little game with the same kind of chibi anime art style. And I really like this company, I really like what they do, and I hope that their games get picked up and brought to more parts of the world, and they keep designing great games. But League of Hackers is really good. Check that one out. Design Town, also from Moa Ideas. I haven't played this one, but it's been on my radar for a couple of months. And now I'm thinking I really need to pick up a copy because I heard that it has deck building. I didn't even know that. I just thought it was a minimalist town building game, but now it involves deck building. I think I gotta get that one. Panthalos from Iron Games. Now this was a game that was on my short list of games I was interested in checking out from Essen last year, but I haven't had a chance to yet. It's got really great artwork. It's got a cool theme. It's like worker placement of you trying to manipulate these demigods or titans against other demigods. Seems neat. If it sounds like it's a theme that might appeal to you, you should check it out. Assault on Doomrock from Beautiful Disaster Games. Now, this was one that was, I don't get to say this very often, but it was a hit on Indiegogo. Usually I just say Kickstarter, but this project funded through Indiegogo is a big hit. A lot of people really enjoy it. It's getting a lot of buzz. It's like a fantasy, but a tongue-in-cheek fantasy cooperative game. It seems like something I might like to try, so maybe one day I will. Clinic from AOS Team, and if you're having trouble finding this game and looking it up on Board Game Geek, that's because the last C in Clinic is flipped in reverse, and there is a keyboard shortcut for that apparently, but it's kind of annoying. It's going to be tough for you to find it, so just type in CLINI into Board Game Geek, and then that should pop up. But it does, gameplay-wise though, it seems really interesting. It's a Euro game where you're building a hospital. There's not too many games that let you do that. Essen the Game, Spiel 2013. Speaking of weird names, this is from Geek Attitude Games, and it is one of two games about the Essen Fair that came out last year at Essen 2014, but this is about the 2013 fair. And the other Essen game is all about being a publisher and hawking your games at the show. This one is, I believe, all about being a patron of the show, just an attendee running around trying to get a bunch of games. They got official likenesses of a lot of game designers and people in the media, reviewers that go to the fair, and I think they even got images of actual games. So I don't know anything about it as far as the gameplay goes, but the theme is interesting. Okay, this one, Wolf. You have to say it like that every time that you say it. This is from Smiley Monster Games, and I've wanted to try this one for a while. This is another reason why I'm glad I have Board Game Bliss, because I haven't been able to find this game anywhere. This is a social deduction game, sort of bordering on a party game style, I guess, where, think of it as a very light version of the Resistance, where you each have two different identity cards, but only one of them actually represents you. And I guess you can be either sheeps or sheep, or a bull, or like the boy hunter, or a wolf, and you're trying to hide your identity. Seems neat. Seems like a family-style deduction game. Amber Route from Bomba Games. I don't know too much about this, I'm sad to say, but I think that the artwork and design looks pretty cool. I've heard some very interesting things about it. Like, people were saying that it may not be their favorite game, but it had like really, really fascinating design elements to it. I'm definitely eager to find out more about that. From the same designer, I think, is Cargo Train from Game Fabrica, a different publisher. This one is a train game, but it's all card driven. You're trying to get your goods from one spot to another. I don't typically like train games, but if it's a heavy card driven hand management game, that actually sounds like something that would appeal to me. And then Town Center 4th Edition from Luda Creations. I never played editions 1 through 3, but I do remember this game being on Kickstarter, I believe. I don't think it was Indiegogo. I think it might have been Kickstarter. It made its funding goal. A lot of people were quite abuzz about it because it's a Euro game with a really nice design aesthetic to it. Might be something that's interesting. And then our final game, I am not going to be able to say this. Der Geheimnisvolle... The Mysterious Mirror is a family kids style game. It's got a really cool looking cover actually, and I've heard it described as sort of a light kids version of Pictionary, well, with some Pictionary type elements where you're trying to draw lines and connect mirrors, things like that. And I just thought I'd throw in a children's family style game because sometimes those are very useful for certain gamers out there. So that is just some of the great and interesting games, well, hopefully great, and at least one of them definitely is, and interesting games that you can find over at BoardGameBliss.com. Go and check them out. Check out their entire selection. They're getting new stuff in all the time, and I've heard it from the grapevine, the official grapevine, that there's some really cool stuff coming, and you want to keep an eye on that. I'll see you next time. Take care.